days when growing up was on Sundays. Every Sunday when I went to church, I was in a hurry to go back home to watch cantata. Having televisions in our home back then was a big thing because it served as a source of entertainment. Talk about a Fiera, talk about Taxi Driver, talk about Home Sweet Home, and a whole lot. Those who did not own television also found a way of entertaining themselves. Some of them go to peep through other people's window just to catch a glimpse of their favorite programs. But what do we see today? Technology. Technology and social media has made it possible for us to access information online. We educate ourselves and entertain ourselves. The number of mobile phones we have in our homes surely is more than the toothbrushes we have. I was in my office one afternoon when a student walked up to me. He had a problem. He wanted to find out if it was possible for a girl to fake menstruation. Where was that coming from? Why would a student come to ask me that question? I asked him and he told me that he suspected his girlfriend was faking menstruation. I told him what I thought, but he left my office that afternoon still in doubts. You know, social media has made it possible for people to discuss interesting conversations. People have met good friends through social media. So that evening, I decided to put up a post on my wall to ask the question. To my amazement, I got lots and lots of people who sent me messages in my inbox to share their experiences with me on how they've had to fake menstruation and for what reason they did that. Then, with their permission, they asked me to post the stories on my wall for others to read. So the following morning, I started a hashtag, Fake Menstruation Diaries. I shared stories of people who had fake menstruation and for how long they were able to do that. For days, I shared stories on my wall, and then we went on and on and on, and people drew my attention to the fact that if a girl can fake menstruation, then it is possible for a girl to fake pregnancy. So I started another hashtag, Fake Pregnancy Diaries. People shared their experiences with me on how they had to fake pregnancy. Why would somebody go to the extent of faking pregnancy? And for what reason would they do that? Well, mine was just to share their stories for people to read. So I posted the stories on my wall. I went on and on and on, and during those times, my friends list and my followership increased on Facebook. Before I started sharing the stories, I had about 3,000 friends on Facebook. By the time I finished sharing those stories, the friends list moved to 4,000 plus. I had about 2,000 followers then. By the time I finished sharing the stories, I had up to 4,500 followers. Then it meant I was doing something. People started talking. People wanted me to bring up such interesting conversations to discuss. But I didn't just get up to discuss fake menstruation and fake pregnancy. So I asked them what's next they wanted us to discuss. And some people brought a suggestion, sex for a job. Sex for a job. Are people giving in sex to get a job? Well, I asked for stories from my followers, and people shared their stories with me in my inbox. All the times I shared their stories, I kept their identity hidden. Of course, that is important. I shared stories on sex for a job. People shared their experiences with me, and I posted on my wall for people to read on how they had to give in sex to get a job and to keep a job. It was very shocking for me and for some of my readers when some of the men shared their experiences with me on how they had to give in sex to their female bosses and to the wives of their bosses to get a job and to keep a job. Then the university students on my list told me that if people are giving in sex to get a job, then there's a possibility that students are giving in sex to get grades. So we started a hashtag, Sex for Grades. Sex for grades was one interesting one for me. Why? Students shared their stories with me on how some lecturers pressurized them for sex. To my surprise, some lecturers also shared their experiences on how some students seduced them for sex. So it meant that not only are lecturers putting pressure on students for sex, like we always think, but rather the students are also wooing their lecturers for sex. Later, I started what I hashtagged suicide moments. Suicide moments, I posted experiences of people who had wanted to commit suicide, not because they wanted to die, but because they wanted to end some sort of pain they were going through. Why am I telling you all this? Social media has become a very powerful tool. People have met lots of people on social media. People use social media to discuss interesting conversations. They have impacted lives positively, and they have been agents of change. Sometime in 2014, a group I am in on Facebook raised an amount of 23,000 Ghana cedis to renovate Apeja RC Primary School, whose roofing had gone off during a rainstorm earlier in that year. Another man on Facebook called Francis Kennedy Oklo, on October 18, 2016, successfully raised an amount of money for a young girl who had gained admission to Ola Girls Senior High School but had no money to go to school. Another man whom I love so much, Nana Aredamwa, as I call him an all-round man. He uses his Facebook wall to do so many interesting things. Talk about entertainment, he would entertain you. Talk about politics. Talk about informing you. He does everything. In all this, I realized I could also use my wall to discuss pressing issues, or less talked about issues in society, like suicide, like depression, like abuse, and many more. When I shared the experiences of people who had wanted to commit suicide, I was able to link 3 of my storytellers to counselors because they had still not gotten out of the trauma they were going through. I intend bringing up more topics for discussion, because one thing I've realized is that lots of people have things bothering them, but one way or the other, they are unable to open up. In all, still stands an unanswered question. Why would anybody want to share their story with me, a total stranger, aside being a mere Facebook friend? I had people who are twice older than I am, people whom I should be calling mom or dad, sharing their stories with me, a 23-year-old girl. Let's go to our everyday life. You and I are very much aware that somebody who is older than I am would not want to even confide in me when it comes to making a decision. Well, the answers lies in most of the comments my readers gave to the stories I posted. Some of them said, fake story, not true, totally, and a whole lot. Ashley Lorenzana says something, and I want to quote. It is okay to disagree with the thoughts or opinions expressed by other people, but that doesn't give you the right to deny any sense they make, nor does it give you a right to accuse someone of poorly expressing their beliefs just because you don't like what they are saying. Calvin Coolidge also said, if we judge ourselves only by aspirations and everyone else by their conduct, we shall soon reach a false conclusion. And that is unfortunately what most Ghanaians do. I learned one thing when I shared the stories, and I arrived at a conclusion, and it appears that many people are too judgmental. Some of us have grown up in homes where sex-related issues cannot be discussed between a growing child and a mother. Can we say our parents do not seem bothered, or they are too shy to discuss such issues? We have grown up in a society where it is difficult for a student to confide in a teacher on an issue that is bothering them. We live in a society where it is difficult for a church member to confide in their pastor on something that is bothering them. We live in a society where it is difficult for an employee to confide in his or her colleague or his employer on an issue that is bothering him. Should we say these people fear that they will be judged, or they fear that their issue might reach a third person? To those who shared their stories with me, and to all here who are going through tough times, I encourage you to share your story with somebody else, no matter how tough you think it is. My advice to you all here, and to all who have the opportunity to hear this, the words of C. Joy Bell rings true. Open your mind to the world and the many different ways that can be found it before making hasty judgments of others. After all, the very same thing you judge from where you are may very well be something totally different in meaning on the other side of the world. The problem of making hasty judgments is that it will emphasize your ignorance at the end of the day. And to all here who are on the various social media platforms, and to those who are yet to join, social media has become a very powerful tool. Let's be mindful of the way we use it. People have met their soulmates on social media. Social media has become a marketplace. People have done great business transactions on social media. People have met great friends on social media. I playfully started something which brought traffic onto my wall. Of course, it earned me some cash too. When next you want to post a nude of yourself on social media? When next you want to do something bad on social media? Pause and think about me. Think about all others who have used their social media to impact lives positively. You too can do something good with your social media accounts. If you or I want to make a difference in this world, that's how we are going to be able to do it, and that's where we will start from, every single time. My name is MAMAVI, and I'm a social media enthusiast. Thank you.